All right, so I am going to make this video on adding and subtracting fractions. I know that you guys have done some really great things in the live class, but it's just been requested that I kind of walk you through those steps. So we have learned a lot over the last couple weeks, and one of them is adding and subtracting fractions, but there's really kind of different parts to it. And we've done the parts separately, but this is the first time we're bringing all three procedures together. So let's go ahead and do an example. And I think what I'm going to do in this example is I'm going to do a subtraction problem just because they seem to be a little bit more difficult, so I'd rather have you see that. So let's just say I've decided to do 5.5 minus, I don't know, 7/8. All right, so this is our original equation, or our original little thing that we have to find. And again, I told you there's different parts to it. So let's just focus on part number one. Well, the first part is we can't subtract fractions because they're both not in fraction form. Even though 7/8 is a fraction and 5.5 is a mixed number, we want them both in just at least fraction form. So our step one would be to make them both fractions. So I need to first convert 5.5 into a fraction, and then 7/8 already is a cute little fraction. So we'll do step one, make them both fractions. Make, oh my goodness, both fractions. Okay. So in order to take 5.5 over to be a fraction, we have to go ahead and use our little procedure. So we keep the denominator of 2, and then we do 2 times 5, or 2 times the big number, plus the one at the top. So 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. And then 7/8 is already a fraction. So we don't have to do anything with that guy. So that's kind of that first step. Like we can't subtract fractions until they're at least fractions. So the next one, let's go into step 2. So then we have step 2. Now we need to actually subtract them. We need to subtract them with common denominators. Okay, so we have this beautiful 11/2 minus 7/8. So the first thing we have to do is we have to ask ourselves, do they have common denominators? And that's not true. They do not. So we need to put them to common denominators in order to do our cute little subtraction. So in order to do that, we have to find the least common multiple of 2 and 8. And if you're completely lost on maybe how to do this, it's a long time ago we did those big old M's, if you remember, and we listed the multiples of 2 and 8 and then found it. So I'm going to do that a little bit differently. Same procedure. So I want to list multiples of 2 and I want to list multiples of 8 until I find one that they have in common. So two multiples are like times 1 times 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. I just list a couple of them out. So 2, 4, 6. Oh, why did I put 7 there? Don't mind me. 2, 4, 6, 8. Those are just the first few multiples. And then here we have 8, 16, 24. A couple multiples of 8. Well, I can already see that 8 is the smallest number that they're going to have in common. So my common denominator needs to be 8. Now, this is the part where it gets a little tricky. We have to make these numbers have a denominator of 8. So just as we would simplifying a fraction, instead of dividing them both, we want to go ahead and multiply them both. So I am trying to get 11/2 into a fraction with a denominator of 8. Okay, I just want you to focus on those two fractions because we're making 11/2 look like something with a denominator of 8. So I have to ask myself, how did I get from 2 to 8? What did I multiply by to get there? Oh, I multiplied by 4. So if I did that to my denominator, I have to do that to my numerator as well. It's only fair. Just like you would simplifying both, you have to expand or make it larger. So 11 times 4 is 44. So we're going to do the exact same thing with the second equation. How did I get from 8 to 8? Well, I didn't do anything. I just multiplied it by 1. So I'm going to do the same thing with 7. I don't have to change anything, just have 7. Now that we finally have cute little like denominators, now I just subtract. So I can do 44 minus 7. I think that's 37. Sweet. So now that we finally did our actual subtraction, we have one last step to do. And we have to do this step because if they gave us a question in mixed numbers, we need to give our answer in mixed numbers. So step 3 is to simplify. So we have this 37 over 8. So we have to ask ourselves, how many times can 8 go into 37 without going over? Or you can think about how many times you can take groups of 8 out of 37. So I believe I can take it out 4 times. Yeah. So if I take it out 4 times, 8 times 4 is 32. And I will have 5 left over. I don't have enough of that to take on a whole nother group of 8. So like this would be your final answer. I hope this was helpful. It is a lot of steps. It's a lot of steps. So if it helps, just do them in tiny little chunks. First, make them both fractions. Do your conversions however you need to. If you have 2 mixed numbers, then you'll have to do this twice. That'd be your first step. Then find like denominators and subtract. Follow that procedure. Then put it back into a mixed number. So just look at one step at a time.